welcome back. This is Pixies' song "Where's My Mind," and I kind of like this on acoustic guitar. Well, because they play it mostly on acoustic guitar, but it's just kind of cool, and it's kind of a good entry level song for those of you who are just learning your bar chords and kind of getting familiar with how to move stuff like in between them and move around and stuff. And all this kind of stuff from this era is really good for that, Anyway, so let's check it out. For the most part, it's centering around like an E chord. So if you guys know your open E major, that's perfect. Now, what I recommend doing if you're unfamiliar with these bar chord shapes, or at least moving around the neck with them, and you're trying to really play this in tempo, I recommend doing the E chord with an alternate fingering, so basically leaving out your first finger. And so if you do it that way, and by the way, you're going to want the document for this at Walker Guitar. There's a PDF that you can follow along with, which is going to help and make everything a lot more clear. Is it on the document as well, is that you're going to want to do the fingering of third finger, pinky, middle finger, and the first finger's free. So for the strings you're fretting, A string is the third finger, and pinky's on the D string, and your middle finger's on the G. And it's kind of weird at first to do that fingering, but what you can do from that is you can just start to slide around with the same type of hand formation. So by having this hand formation the way that we do with the first finger free, it's going to allow you to start to actually slide around and form these other bar chord shapes, because they're actually all derived from this formation that you have already with your E chord. So first chord in the song is an E, and I'm going to go over the chords first and then sort of plug in the rhythm. So you have an E, then you're going to scoot all the way up to, depends how you want to view this, but I kind of view this as the 4th fret, even though your fingers are at the 5th and the 6th frets. And so you're just going to scoot this shape up here and transplant everything down one string set. Or in music nerd terms, we usually refer to this as up a string set because the pitches of the strings are higher, but physically you're moving towards the ground, a string set. So however you want to think of it, is that you're taking your E chord, you're sliding it up, and you're scooting it up a string set, and then you're going to have to swing that free first finger over to where it falls at the 4th fret. And you're going to play everything but your low E string, so that string should be muted by the exact way that you flatten out your finger. So you're going to end up kind of actually muting the underside of that low E string. And with some practice, that's the chord you're going to get. This is a C sharp minor chord. Still derived from the E major hand shape. We've just taken the E chord on all 6 strings and we've scooted it up here, scooted our fingers up a string set and put the first finger over. So that's a C sharp minor. So that's what you want to do. It's a lot easier, I think, initially than doing an E chord this way and having to reform everything midair and grab the C sharp. Now, with some practice, that's what you're going to do. But initially, it's kind of nice to have some kind of a sort of a familiarity with it, if you will, where you just scoot up and then you shift and then you form your chord. So that's your second chord, C sharp minor. To be honest, the worst is kind of over. Then you're going to scoot everything down a string set, every single finger. Don't move frets though, just scoot them down, and you're now at an A sharp, A flat, or a G sharp. I actually forget what I wrote on the document, but that is your chord. So it's the same thing, you're just doing a full transplant, and then you're going to move up 1 fret to an A. So that's the core of your riff. It's E, C sharp, G sharp, A. Now, when you're comfortable with that, let's plug in the rhythm. And the rhythm is very simple, where it's roughly, it's just a that sort of feel. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Now when you just strum everything. I even used the last upstroke in the rhythm, the one that falls during where you're going to want to start moving your hand to the next chord shape. I almost use it as like a scratch rhythm, sort of. Or I almost don't even play it. Just kind of lay back, you know, make it feel good. Doesn't have to be perfect. But you notice how these fingers keep the same formation. That's why I like this. It's a good intro to how to use bar chords in a movable sort of format. Good song too. So that's your first section. Now, what you're probably all hearing in your head on top of that is this. You know, the little melody part that's got the nice little electric guitar and the slight distortion and all that stuff's cool. There's just two different ways you can go about playing this, and I guess it just kind of depends on what you connect with better. For me, what feels more comfortable is to take my first finger and bar over, and by the way, this is what's called lead guitar on the document down at the bottom. So I'm barring over the top two strings of the 4th fret, and I've actually kind of wedged my middle finger on the 5th fret of the B string, so the 2nd string. And you're going to take your hand and you're going to use proper picking form, kind of back behind the bridge here, and you're going to alternate pick, or rather outside pick, depending on what your note is. So you're going to stay on the outside of both of these strings, so your pick is never going to go in between the 1st string and the 2nd string. So you're going to stay on the outside of that string pair. So what that means is as you pick your notes on the 2nd string, you're always down picking. Anything on the 1st string is always going to be an up pick. Down, up. So you're going to hold this little shape with the middle finger in the lead, and your first finger barred over both strings, even though your middle finger is playing the 2nd string. And you're just going to pick from the 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string. 4 times a piece. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lift off the middle finger 2 times a piece. That's why you bar over, to make a nice smooth transition. And then the little hook at the end is where it's middle finger, again, lift off, so you should already have your first finger holding that fret the entire time. And you can pick that how you want. I usually go down, down, up, down, but not a big deal, whatever feels good. And that's your melody. Okay, so now the second way you can do the melody, the lead guitar, instead of barring your first finger over this way, is you can actually put your middle finger on the 1st string, 4th fret, your first finger on the 4th fret of the B string. So you should be having those notes. And some people find this easier initially. And then you can take your 3rd finger and stretch it over while you have your first 2 fingers in place. You could stretch your 3rd finger over to get the 5th fret on the B string. And if you hold all 3 fingers, you can run through the riff that way. I find it's a little harder to navigate the 3rd finger and the 1st finger, but that's just personally. Do whatever you think feels the best for now. It's not a big deal. Okay, so let's move on to the B section now, or the way out on the water section. It's going to be E chord. Back to that. There's only, the song's very simple. There's just those 2 pieces really. So this second piece, the rhythm guitar piece, is E, and you're going to take the same shape, but instead of scooting up to make a C sharp minor like we did, we're going to play at the exact same spot on the neck and do that G sharp. So it's even easier. You're just going to play your E and release pressure, scoot all the way to the 4th, and bar. That's it. So, and then up to A again, and then C sharp minor. So that involves jumping up a string set and back to the 4th fret. So again, it's going to be E, G sharp, A, and then you kind of hit that chord and hang on it and don't strum it at all. And then our final chord. Actually, I think I just do a partial. I just do the top 4 strings at the 7th fret. So this is now the same bar chord that's rooted on the low string. First time we've hit it in this song, this is a B. So let me do it with the rhythm so this all starts to make sense. So it's E, same basic rhythm figure by the way, kind of loose, just feeling good. E, G sharp, and then I just do all the down strums on the A, let the C sharp hang there. So one more time. G sharp, build up on A, B, build up on B, back to the other part. So one more time. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this Pixies lesson, and I know I kind of rushed through it, but a lot of this also has to do with you guys finding fun, you know, creative ways, or connectable at least, ways to apply this knowledge. It's all already on the website. So it's you know, a lot of these songs that I do are just to give you guys fun ways to kind of work through stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it. Send your requests to walkerguitar.com, and I will talk to you soon. So rock on.